Oh, hey, come on in. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so excited for today's recipe, you guys, because apple pie is a favorite in my family and for any holiday desserts around this time of year. But at the same time, I want to make it bite-sized because I just love bite-sized desserts. Sometimes you don't want to make a whole pie, or maybe it's like a fun appetizer dessert. Have you ever seen like a really cute like appetizer dessert table? That's kind of like where my inspo came from for this. So we are going to be making apple pie bites in a mini muffin tray. I'm so excited. Let's do it. You're gonna need most of the ingredients as you would in an apple pie, but instead of a normal crust, I am using some puff pastry dough, and I just got it store-bought because it's just so much easier that way, and it turns out every single time. So first things first, we are going to cook up our apples. Now, you guys can feel free to leave the skin on, but in my opinion, I love it when the apple is like halfway peeled, so skin is a little bit on, but at the same time, not all the way on. I'm just gonna peel the apples. Again, really quick peel, doesn't need to be perfect, just taking off a little bit of skin. I'm using organic apples. Then, because it's easier to do this, as I cut the apples, I'm just gonna throw them all right in the pan. Easier when it's nearby. Rolling up my sleeves. Now, because these are apple pie bites, you wanna actually cut the apples not into slices, but into nice cubes, like small cubes. All right, crisp apples are so good. I'm gonna throw this on the stove. Let's do it. I'm gonna turn this to low to medium heat and grab the other ingredients to put on in. Okay, first up, I'm just gonna toss in a tablespoon and a half of butter and kind of just let the apples simmer in the butter before I throw in the rest of the ingredients. After about 8 to 10 minutes of these apples being on low to medium heat, I'm gonna come in here, throw in the brown sugar, the yummiest part of it all, a little bit of cane sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, or maybe a whole lot of cinnamon, and last but not least, a little bit of lemon, because acidity works so well in this. Apples and cinnamon, honestly, if you need a natural scent for your house, just put this on the stove and your house will smell amazing. But I am just going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes with the top on right there. Now, let's go focus on our puff pastry. Now for the fun part, puff pastry time, baby. Puff pastry time. Take it on out. You guys can feel free to make this from scratch, or you can just be a lazy mother like me and store-buy it, because it's sometimes easier. All right, taking the puff pastry dough, and what I'm gonna do before I cut it on up, just to make sure that it has some nice texture on here and gets cooked, crispy, nice leveling, I'm going to do a little bit of melted butter on each side. You guys can also take a cooking paintbrush, but I don't have one. Little bit of melted butter on each side. Just gonna get it nice and even to make sure to cut it. Perfect. Basically what I'm doing here is cutting a square of the puff pastry dough, and I'm just gonna lay that in each mini muffin cup. I'm just gonna cut the square of a puff pastry and lay it right there in each cup. Around 5 minutes later, all the mini puff pastry cups are ready. And now let's go check on the apples because they smell delicious. Ready? Yum, holy moly. Look at that. Oh my gosh, you guys, that smells just insane. Then what I'm gonna do is add another tablespoon of water, turn off the heat, and slowly mix in just a little bit of flour so it thickens up. I could just eat this alone. It doesn't even need the puff pastry. But this is your apple pie filling. Now, the fun begins. Before I fill the little apple pies. I'm just gonna dock the dough. So you just kind of poke a hole, just take a fork and just go through each one just to aerate the bottom of the puff pastry. Then I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of that apple filling and fill each puff pastry. All right, this is optional. It's actually not that needed, but I'm just gonna fold over a little bit of the puff pastry and just see how it turns out. Now let's pop these babies in the oven at 350 degrees. You guys, I really wish you could smell through the screen because these smell insane and they look insane. Little apple pie bites. All right, now these are perfect as is and they're so easy to just pull out. Look how amazing that looks. But when you're ready to serve them, what I like to do is plate them and then we're gonna top with some whipped cream. When you're ready to serve them, yes, I'm using Ready Whip. It's the holidays. Everything in moderation. I feel like this is a must. Topping each one with just a little bit of whipped cream. And then just for a little bit of presentation. Whipped cream is melting. We got a taste test. Wow, that's freaking insane. Oh my, you guys gotta try this. This is one of my best pieces of work yet. Hot roast club. I'll be here eating 7 more of these, but cheers, happy holidays. If you're looking for the perfect, simple dessert to make, I got you. Cheers. Unreal.